Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the SmackDown review. And this was the go-home show for the Royal Rumble. This was SmackDown's go-home show for the Royal Rumble, which is this Sunday. And if you guys haven't checked out my previous video that I uploaded earlier today, the Dynamite review is up, and reviewed this past Wednesday's edition of Dynamite. So the review is up if you guys haven't seen it. So check it out. And SmackDown tonight, I gotta say, it was a passable show, in my opinion. The first hour was decent. I enjoyed the first hour of SmackDown tonight. And then as it got to the main event, it was just, what the fuck? What the fuck was going on during the main event? It was like what we saw on Monday Night Raw this past Monday with the woman. But only tonight it wasn't with the woman, it was with the men. So basically, I think what it was trying to do is it was trying to get you hyped for the Rumble match for the men. But overall, it was just a mess, what was going on. So, and that's when the show turned into Monday Night Raw light. It's like, why am I watching Monday Night Raw on Friday night on SmackDown? I didn't have to see a second Monday Night Raw happen tonight on SmackDown. So, but let's jump right into the review. So SmackDown opened up tonight with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, he came out, he was already in the ring. And Daniel Bryan then welcomed everyone to SmackDown. He kept saying, it's Royal Rumble weekend. Daniel Bryan ended up talking about being excited for the Rumble, for the Royal Rumble match. He wanted to say that he accomplished a lot in his career, and that he's never won the men's Rumble. He went on about being able to challenge for the WWE Championship or the Universal Championship at WrestleMania if he wins the Rumble, which in my prediction, I think Daniel Bryan is going to win the Rumble. That's my prediction. Daniel Bryan is going to win the Rumble, and for the woman, I got my pick on Bayley. I think Bayley's going to win the Women's Royal Rumble. So those are my two predictions of who is going to win the Rumbles. So Daniel Bryan ended up going on to say that no one knows about the main event of WrestleMania being life-changing like he does. So he ended up going on about winning the Rumble, and now we hear a edited, yes chants. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying, this is the honest truth. He doesn't know how many more WrestleMania moments he has left. He ended up saying that he knows if he wants to accomplish his dream one more time, it involves going to the main event at WrestleMania and also winning the Rumble. Bryan ended up saying, thanks to Chad Gable and Otis, he's ready for Sunday. He ended up saying that his cardio can go for days, and his hips are loose and strong. Yeah, because Daniel Bryan and Otis and Chad Gable were doing the Macarena. So that's why Daniel Bryan ended up saying that his hips are loose and strong, because of doing all those Macarena moves. So Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he's ready for anything. And in the Rumble, you have to be. And so then AJ Styles ended up coming out. And at first I'm like, why is AJ Styles on SmackDown with Omos? So Styles ended up saying that we'll also see him throw 29 other superstars over the top rope to earn his spot in the main event at WrestleMania. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he knows both brands are competing in the Royal Rumble. So he was like to Styles, this is SmackDown, and you're a Raw superstar. So Daniel Bryan was glad to see Styles, but Daniel Bryan was like, "What are you doing here?" So Styles ended up telling Daniel Bryan that this is the house he built. And so Omos end up saying that Styles is here for the quarterly brand-to-brand invitational. So great. We're getting the brand-to-brand invitational back here, aka the wild card rule, which we all fucking hated. I'm like, WWE, they never fucking learn. Nobody even enjoyed the brand-to-brand invitational when it was in place, or the wild card rule. So why are they bringing it back quarterly, according to Omos? Like I said, they never fucking learn. So Styles ended up reminding us of the rules, and he ended up saying that he didn't make them. He went on to say that he's the gatekeeper of Monday Night Raw, and that everyone is trying to follow in his footsteps since he declared his spot in the Rumble. So Styles went on to say that that didn't work because they had to go through him first, and that he crushed their hopes and dreams. Styles ended up saying that Daniel Bryan doesn't look ready because he was shown pointing to Daniel Bryan wearing his sports coat and attire. So Styles was wondering if Daniel Bryan is GM of SmackDown again. So Styles ended up saying that it's almost like Daniel Bryan already has one foot out the door of the company. Daniel Bryan ended up saying that he doesn't have one foot out the door of anything, especially something he loves as much as WWE. Yeah, and Daniel Bryan ended up saying to Styles that he will prove that. So Daniel Bryan ended up challenging Styles to a match. Styles ended up saying that he loved to get one more Rumble warm-up against Daniel Bryan. So Styles ended up charging, and Daniel Bryan ended up going down. Daniel Bryan ended up going to get back up, and almost was in his way. Daniel Bryan ended up standing back up. Styles was shown smiling. And Daniel Bryan ended up saying that if Styles was a real man and had any guts, he'd come out for that match with Omos. So Styles and Omos, end up leaving. And Daniel Bryan ended up saying, with or without Omos, he's still going to kick Styles' ass. So Daniel Bryan then ended up dropping the mic, and that was basically how the segment ended. But this was a pretty decent segment here from Daniel Bryan. Talking about, how he's excited for the Rumble. And like I said, he's my pick to win the Rumble this year. And then we had Kayla Braxton backstage. She was interviewing Bayley. Kayla Braxton ended up bringing up Bianca's win last week in the Bayley's Ultimate Athlete Obstacle Course Challenge. So Bayley ended up cutting off Kayla Braxton, and she ended up saying that she's better than that. And Bayley ended up saying that she watched Bianca's WWE Chronicle episode, which I still have yet to see, but I heard it's pretty good. So I'll give that a watch whenever. So Bayley ended up going on about being proud of Bianca for that. Bayley ended up saying what stuck out the most is how Bianca has run away from all her problems throughout her life, and that she's not running from this. She ended up saying that she's not winning at the Rumble, and she's not winning tonight. So Bayley ended up saying that Bianca could crawl back into the dark EST hole of her life after she beats her again. So that was what Bayley had to say. And so then we had Bianca Belair versus Bayley. This was a fine match. It was fine for what it was. We had Bayley in the ring staring Bianca Belair down. Bianca was taunting at Bayley. The match starts. The bell end up ringing. Both Bianca and Bayley end up blocking up. Bianca was taunting Bayley again, even more. Bayley ended up kicking Bianca, and she started to work on Bianca's arm. Bianca ended up slamming Bayley. There was a point where Bianca Belair ended up countering with a suplex to Bayley. Went for the cover, and Bayley ended up kicking out at 2. We had, at the end of the match, Bianca ended up winning. She ended up hitting the KOD to Bayley. And so there you go. Bianca Belair ended up winning the match. Post-match, Kayla Braxton was on the ramp. She was getting an interview with Bianca. Bayley was shown recovering in the ring. Bianca ended up talking about proving herself and beating Bayley after everything that has happened. So Bianca ended up calling this the biggest win of her career. She ended up saying that the only thing that will top Bayley is her winning the Rumble match, the Women's Rumble match, and then challenging for the title at WrestleMania. So that was basically what Bianca had to say. So, but overall, the match was fine for what it was. Wasn't great by any means, but it was fine. And then we had Corbin versus Dominik Mysterio. This was boring, in my opinion. Anytime Corbin is out there, you know people are picking up their remotes, muting the TV, or changing the channel because Corbin, is boring in the ring, in my opinion. So Corbin ended up coming out. Dominik ended up attacking Corbin from behind on the ramp. Dominik was beating Corbin down at the ringside area. It went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, the bell ended up ringing. Corbin ended up ramming Dominik into the corner. Corbin started unloading on Dominik, but Dominik ended up turning it around. Rey Mysterio was on commentary during the match, of course. Dominik's father, Rey. So Corbin ended up slamming Dominik into the corner. Corbin then chased Dominik out and then back into the ring. And Dominik ended up splashing Corbin over the top to the floor. And at the end of the match, Corbin ended up winning, delivered the end of days to Dominik. So there you go. Corbin ended up winning. Who cares? But Dominik, he keeps on getting better in the ring. But post-match, we had Corbin rolling to ringside. Rey Mysterio ended up taking off his headset. Corbin was taunting Rey Mysterio. Rey got into the ring, but Corbin ended up grabbing him off the ring apron. Corbin scooped Rey, and then Rey ended up countering, and he drives Corbin face first into the ring post. Rey ended up doing a senton off the ring apron onto Corbin. So then Rey went over and checked on his son, and that was basically that. Moving on. Big E was backstage with Sonya Deville. Big E was asking Sonya Deville what his number in the Royal Rumble is. So we had Big E end up handing over to Sonya Deville a dollar bill, and Big E was like, "Oh yeah, there's a coupon for Arby's that he ended up mentioning." So the Miz and John Morrison interrupt, and I'm like, "Oh great, we got Miz and Morrison." More of the Monday Night Raw invasion on SmackDown because of the Brand to Brand Invitational. Like I said, this show was like watching Monday Night Raw light. Even though this first hour was pretty decent. Then when we got to the main event, it was just like I was watching Monday Night Raw. So Miz and Morrison end up interrupting, and they end up asking where Adam Pearce is. Sonya Deville end up telling the Miz and Morrison that Adam Pearce pulled some strings and that he got the night off after what happened with Paul Heyman last week at the end of Monday Night Raw. So Big E ended up telling Miz and Morrison to keep their stench off his show. Even Big E knows Monday Night Raw fucking sucks. So I know there was this video where Big E, Kofi, and Xavier, when they were the New Day, they were bashing Monday Night Raw, saying Raw sucks, and they were singing. Which I gotta find that video and put it in a Monday Night Raw recap and results video, because it's just hilarious when I saw it. And there's a back and forth between the Miz and Morrison. They were referencing the GameStop stock situation where this happened on Reddit. From what I've heard, Reddit rose the GameStop stocks. Sorry about that, but I was saying, they were talking about the GameStop stocks situation where I guess these people on Reddit put some money towards GameStop stocks. So Sonya Deville ended up walking off, and Big E ended up getting in Miz's face and telling him that he has no chance at winning the Rumble. So John Morrison then ended up attacking Big E. A brawl broke out between Miz, Morrison, and Big E. Big E ended up fighting both Miz and Morrison off. And we had officials end up trying to come and break it up. And that was that. Then we saw Sasha Banks. She was walking backstage. Kalisto ended up greeting her, and he ended up complimenting Sasha. Just a little appearance from Kalisto. I was like, wow, Kalisto is still on SmackDown, which I know probably some of you forgot that he was on SmackDown, because considering, he's never used. So then Reginald, who of course is Carmella's sommelier, Reginald appeared next to Sasha. He ended up saying to Sasha that he comes in peace. So Reginald ended up giving Sasha a bottle of wine, which Reginald ended up saying that this bottle of wine came from Carmella, she asked Reginald to pick the best bottle of wine for Sasha. So Sasha starts flirting a little bit with Reginald, complimenting him on his French accent. She ended up asking Reginald what's the best bottle of wine that she can get for Carmella, that she can sip with a broken jaw. So Sasha ends up giving the bottle back to Reginald. She ends up telling Reginald to keep the bottle of wine because it looks like he could use a drink. So that was that. So still in this Carmella-Sasha feud. So then we had Shinsuke Nakamura. Shinsuke Nakamura was walking backstage. Sami Zayn ended up calling Nakamura over. Of course, Sami Zayn had his documentary crew with him. Of course, working on the documentary and documenting conspiracies against him, of course. So Sami Zayn ended up touching on, Monday Night Raw superstars coming to SmackDown. and Cesaro working on his own without Shinsuke Nakamura. And Sammy ended up saying that he was once the liberator for Nakamura. But he ended up saying now it's time for Nakamura to return the favor. So Sami Zayn ended up wanting Nakamura to help him get the Intercontinental Championship back. So Sammy ended up ranting about how everyone is against him and how this will also benefit Nakamura. So Sammy went on to say that it looks like Cesaro is off on his own and doing great at it. So Sammy ended up going on about how Nakamura has only done good in WWE because of him, because of Sammy. So Sammy ended up asking Nakamura if he can count on him to watch his back. So Nakamura chimes in and says to Sammy that he appreciates everything, but he can go to hell. That Sammy could go to hell. So Nakamura ended up walking off. That was that. So then we went to Michael Cole. Michael Cole ended up welcoming Kevin Owens and Roman Reigns. Owens and Reigns had a sit down. They were joined with Michael Cole on a split screen. Apparently they were, of course, backstage. So Owens ended up talking about the Last Man Standing match on Sunday at the Rumble. Kevin Owens went on to say that he doesn't care if Roman has family members or what happens at the Royal Rumble, and that nothing will stop him from getting up time and time again until he wins the Universal Championship, defeating Roman again. So Paul Heyman ended up speaking up, ended up saying that Kevin Owens will not address the tribal chief that way. He will not address the head of the table that way. So Paul Heyman ended up going about how Roman is commanding respect. Owens ended up asking Reigns if he's going to let Paul Heyman rehash the same crap he's used for other people in the past. So Reigns ended up asking Kevin Owens if he keeps wanting to make excuses and talk about his family. And Roman ended up saying that he has some questions. Reigns ended up asking what kind of man Kevin Owens' father was. Owens ends up saying to Reigns that his father is a great man and that Roman better watch where he's going there. Reigns ended up asking if he's a smart man, if Kevin Owens' father is a smart man. Owens ended up saying that his father is smart. Kevin Owens then warned Reigns about speaking on his father again. So Reigns couldn't understand why Kevin Owens doesn't see his own limitations. And it has to be because, of course, Kevin Owens' dad didn't teach him about limitations. So Reigns ended up saying that Kevin Owens doesn't belong here, and that he's not made for this, and that he's not a king, he's just a pawn. So Reigns ended up saying to Kevin Owens that he is the king on this board, and that everything revolves around him. So Reigns ended up telling Kevin Owens to blame his family for what happens at the Rumble on Sunday. So Reigns ended up calling Kevin Owens and his family fools, his father and grandfather. So Kevin Owens ended up knowing that Roman heard his recent comments about his grandfathers. So he's going to warn Reigns again. He told Reigns to think about it and watch what you say next. Kevin Owens went on to say that they're not going to be in separate rooms on Sunday. They will be in the same ring. So Reigns ended up telling Paul Heyman that Kevin Owens doesn't understand. He still doesn't understand. And he ended up saying maybe he will one day when he sees his grandfather. Reigns ended up saying that Owens is a big disgrace to his family, and that he was wondering why Kevin Owens hasn't acknowledged him as a tribal chief. Owens ended up saying that the only thing his father and grandfathers would want him to acknowledge Roman as is what he is, a delusional jackass. So Kevin Owens ended up saying about how Reigns tries to act cool, like he has it all together, but he's just an insecure bully. So Owens was yelling loudly about how he is someone his family can be proud of. So Owens got mad, and Roman ended up turning off his side of the screen. He had a remote. He ended up turning it off. And I'm like, that's all of us when Monday Night Raw is on every single Monday. We just want to flip it off. But I thought that was funny. But this was very good. This was a good promo segment with Roman and Kevin Owens. Really enjoyed this. Thought it was well done, in my opinion. And now here's where we get to the main event, and this is where the show right here became an absolute mess and felt like Monday Night Raw light. So we had Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles. This was good here. It's Daniel Bryan and Styles going at it. So Daniel Bryan came out first, and then AJ Styles came out with Almost. Styles and Almost end up stopping on the stage, and Styles actually sent Almost to the back. Almost was not present at ringside out here. So Daniel Bryan ended up applauding Styles for coming out to the ring by himself. So then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, we saw Styles end up taking Bryan down to the mat. They were trading counters and holds. Cesaro was on commentary here. So Daniel Bryan ended up applying an armbar. Styles ended up breaking and he got free of the armbar. We had Daniel Bryan end up going back to work on Styles' arm. Daniel Bryan ended up dropping Styles and ended up nailing a running kick to Styles' hand. So Daniel Bryan ended up grounding Styles and ended up focusing on the arm once again. And at the end, we saw Daniel Bryan end up win the match by disqualification because Sami Zayn was out there. Sami Zayn was filming with his crew at ringside for his documentary. We had Big E come out. Sami Zayn was not thrilled with Big E coming out. Big E ended up taking his jacket off. And Sami Zayn started running his mouth at Big E. Big E ended up taking out Sami Zayn with a clothesline on the outside. Big E tossed Sami over the announce table. Cesaro got up and he ended up shoving Big E. Big E ended up shoving Cesaro back, which Cesaro then ended up tossing Big E over the announce table. So Sami Zayn ended up getting back up, starts barking orders at Cesaro. Daniel Bryan then was shown running the ropes, ended up hitting Sami and Cesaro with a suicide dive. Styles ended up bringing Daniel Bryan back into the ring. And Sami Zayn ended up running, attacking Daniel Bryan, which caused a disqualification. So Daniel Bryan won the match by disqualification. Post-match, we had Cesaro bring Big E into the ring. And out came Shinsuke Nakamura. Nakamura ended up hitting the ring, ended up taking out Sami Zayn, then Styles. Cesaro ended up approaching, but Nakamura put on the brakes. They didn't attack each other. So we had the brawl continuing. Big E, Daniel Bryan, and Nakamura end up clearing the ring of Cesaro, Styles, and Sami Zayn. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back from the commercial, we had a 6-man tag: Cesaro, Big E, and Daniel Bryan versus Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and Styles. This match, of course, ended in disqualification. Big E, Daniel Bryan, and Cesaro end up winning, where we had The Miz and Morrison come out. Big E ended up staring them down, and he invited Miz and Morrison into the ring, and Nakamura ended up meeting them at ringside. Miz and Morrison end up entering the ring. They attack Big E for disqualification. Post-match, Big E end up fighting, but Miz and Morrison end up taking Big E out. And then out came Otis. So apparently, if you remember, Otis still has like this little thing with the Miz and Morrison. So after what they did to him, after what Miz and Morrison did to Otis, where they end up sending Mandy Rose to Monday Night Raw. So we had Otis hit in the ring. He ended up leveling Miz and Morrison with clotheslines. Otis ended up tossing Miz over his head. He did the same to Morrison. Otis then delivered another clothesline to Morrison. So Otis ended up hitting a double splash into the corner to Morrison and The Miz. Otis then delivered the caterpillar to both of them, to both Miz and Morrison at the same time. And then SmackDown went to commercial. Then when SmackDown came back, it was a 10-man tag. So I'm like, what the fuck is going on at this part of the show? I'm like, looked like I was watching Monday Night Raw light. You had Miz and Morrison there. You had all these others. What was going on? So it was Otis, Cesaro, Big E, and Daniel Bryan versus The Miz, Morrison, Nakamura, Sami Zayn, and Styles. Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, Otis, Nakamura, and Big E end up winning the match, where Sami was waiting on Sheamus because Sami was going to deliver the haluva kick to Sheamus. Sheamus then ended up leveling Sami Zayn with the bro kick. So Sheamus, Daniel Bryan, Otis, Nakamura, and Big E end up winning. Post-match, Miz and Morrison end up beating Sheamus down. Styles end up joining in from the floor. And then out came a returning Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman ended up making his return after his suspension post-Survivor Series. So Braun ended up taking out everyone at ringside. He ended up getting into the ring. He took out Sami Zayn and Cesaro. Strowman ended up delivering the running power slam to Sami Zayn, and then he delivered one to Cesaro. So he had The Miz and Morrison were shocked, and they were watching from the stage. Strowman ended up tossing Cesaro across the ring, and then Strowman ended up hitting another power slam to Cesaro. And that was basically how SmackDown ended. So Braun Strowman ended up making his return. I'm like, why didn't they keep his return? Have him come back in the Rumble. Maybe he would have been a surprise return in the Royal Rumble. I don't know why WWE did this tonight and have Braun Strowman come out there. They should have kept his return for the Royal Rumble. Have him be, a surprise return in the Rumble. They did not do that, which I think they should have done. I think they should have kept Braun Strowman off the show tonight and have him return in the Rumble match. But they didn't do that. But whatever. WWE, they never, get you surprised at points anymore. So, but overall, SmackDown, it was a passable show tonight. Decent first hour. Then when it got to the main event, the second hour, it was like, what the fuck was going on? It was Monday Night Raw light. Because the same thing that we saw with the men tonight, even though they were hyping you up for the Rumble match, was the same thing that they did on Monday Night Raw with the woman. So, but it was a mess. It was a mess, in my opinion. So, but anyways, that's it for the SmackDown review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe, and until the next video, which will possibly be the Royal Rumble review. So, until then, see you all later.